All basic access to Snowflake is through REST APIs. When Snowflake came up on the market, keep in mind that Snowflake is a web product. Yeah, that's a web product, and the way you access web services lately, the basic level is through REST APIs, through get and post commands. And look what all they have. All they had at the beginning, yeah, Snowflake, to be able to access programmatically features of Snowflake was their REST API, was in fact what they call the SQL. Yeah, the SQL REST API. And have a look inside. Yeah, have a look inside. Yeah, it is documented, and we'll have a look. This basically has just two commands. Yeah, two commands: a get and a post. Yeah, to execute the command, and they have an additional post to cancel an SQL statement, because yeah, basically Snowflake is a data warehouse, a database system, and with an SQL engine. This is all they had. Yeah, this is all they have, and you have to issue and to eventually cancel SQL commands. Yes, you can execute code through store procedures, basically, yeah, as a different procedural code implemented eventually in JavaScript, in Python, and so on, but through store procedures. And the store procedure is also an SQL construct. They came up just lately. You can see it is still in preview, yeah, with a Snowflake REST API, which is an alternative to the SQL REST API, more granular. When you want to work with user grants roles, managing warehouses, and so on, yeah, definitely you can do it through REST get and post, yeah, get and post commands. Another REST API they had was used as an alternative to Snowpipe, and this was a Snowpipe REST API. This included just, I think, two different methods there that they encapsulated, they wrapped. Yeah, you can see here insert report and yeah, insert files. They wrapped into some Python code. Yeah, but basically this was once again, this was a REST API access at a low level with a request, with a HTTP request, yeah, encapsulated as mostly get and post. A while ago, I also encapsulated the method described by this former Snowflake employee. This is a post on Medium, and as you can see here, they added this one. This is not an officially supported product of Snowflake. Why is this? Because this guy implemented in .NET, yeah, in C#.NET, something very interesting. Something that, as I said, I implemented this for a client. They needed a way actually to export and to import the dashboards from the web UI from Snow site, yeah, into a different account. And you'll have no facility to access the dashboards. Yeah, still today programmatically you cannot access the dashboards. And why this? Because there is an undocumented API, the Snowsite REST API that this guy used here. With all different each dashboard has different properties there, visual properties, and so on, and they are exported in XML, I think, yeah, definitely in XML, and they could be imported in XML also elsewhere. Yeah, actually, there's not XML as you can see here. There's JSON. Yeah, there's JSON, but still semi-structured data. Look at the quantity of information you get here. And yes, this is important because, as you can see, you may have, and they may use in their web UI specifically, some features which cannot be yet accessed programmatically. And the Snowsite REST API, yeah, the undocumented, yeah, Snowsite REST API is one way, the single way, the only way to eventually access this. And yeah, hence my lecture here, because I want to provide you this kind of missing information they still don't have. as I know it anywhere else. Because these are all low-level APIs, I'll not go into too much details or demos, yeah, practical demos here. But a while ago, I provided for my programming in Snowflake course, yeah, which was very specialized for basically intermediate programmers. An example on how to connect, for instance, to the SQL REST API from a PowerShell script. And I'll just give you an idea here. I'll not walk through this. I don't know if it's still functional, even if I update here the account name, the username, and so on. But just to give you an idea how complicated it is, the practicality of such a script is that people may create virtual machines, yeah, and use this to connect to Snowflake without installing anything else there. Because you cannot install Python, let's say, with a Python connector or Snowpark or whatever. Yeah, the only way to connect to Snowflake would be through this SQL REST API, let's say, or the newer Snowflake REST API. Yeah, in the past, yeah, this is what we had. This was the possibility to do it. To connect to a REST API, you cannot usually pass just a username and password. You have to generate a key pair. Yeah. These complicated things. Anyway, let's go inside and have a quick look at this one. So this is a PS1 PowerShell script, okay, that I can attach to the current lecture. But once again, this is not necessarily functional at this moment, yeah, and I'll not update it. I will just provide it just as an idea, yeah, to you to see how complex it is actually to contact, to connect to such a REST API. Okay. So usually you must get a JWT. This is a JSON Web Token. Okay, using your public key, yeah, from the key pair that you generated in a file here, the account name and the username. Okay, that's one way to do it. Yeah, you can generate. You call SnowSQL. Okay, you call the Snowflake CLI command line interface to generate with this option to generate a JWT. And this JWT value you can pass it later on into the authorization bearer. Well, that's one way to do it. A typical way to do it when you access basically REST APIs. You have to authenticate, and that's one way to do it. Yeah, as you can see, and then I will call curl. Yeah, you can use Postman, yeah, for a more interactive user experience. But in this case, you should be familiar, yeah, if you access REST APIs with a curl utility, which exists, yeah, exists in basically every operating system, even in Windows, yeah. But this exists in Linux, okay. And in PowerShell, we can use this with invoke expression. Yeah, invoke expression will actually execute an command line command. Okay, so curl exe, you see here post will issue an HTTP post request. Okay, content type accept user agent. Okay, blah blah blah. Key pair. This is what I'll pass as an authorization, and then look statement. This is a statement that I will pass. This is basically the SQL, yeah, that I will pass to this interface, select canon role, and you'll pass the endpoint. Yeah, this was a passable endpoint, yeah, for this command statements. Yeah, V2, yeah, this was the second version. Here, once again, I have the specific account name. Yeah, this should be replaced. Yeah, if you want to customize this one. So anyway, pretty complex. Yeah, this used to work. This is still working, but you'll have to update these ones. You'll have to generate, as I say, key value pair and so on. So here it is, guys. Here is architecture of an SQL REST API. As you can see here, the Snowflake account can expose this kind of REST API endpoint. Have a look at the endpoint itself. That's a URL address. API, V2, in this case, statements. Yeah, this would be the generic REST API endpoint, and you may execute SQL statements, yeah, to the SQL engine through this REST API endpoint that you can access in different manners. Yeah, at the low level, you can use Postman or curl, yeah, to issue REST HTTP requests, yeah, HTTP web requests, yeah, post, get, and so on. You can use basically SnowSQL, the CLI, or Python, yeah, basically. But these are high-level interfaces. Just keep in mind that most of the other tools, yeah, like the Snowflake CLI, like any other client drivers, yeah, connectors from Python, .NET, Go, and so on, they are actually implemented with this SQL REST API. And look, as an example, you can see the two post and one get web HTTP requests offered by this low-level REST API. This is all you have there. This is all you have. You have a post to post statements, get to get the results, and this could be paged, yeah, because the result could be on multiple pages, and you have another post to eventually cancel a specific statement. Another REST API they came up with is a Snowpipe REST API, used as an alternative to Snowpipe, yeah, to the automatic Snowpipe. And today they have also Snowpipe streaming, something different, yeah. But this one used to offer, I think, just two different methods, which were at some point encapsulated into some Python, small Python library. Okay, insert files was one such method that you were supposed to use programmatically only. Okay, so this is basically the pipelines that you could create with a Snowpipe REST with a Snowpipe REST API. Let's see, you have a continuous data inflow, data files that you may upload into an internal name stage. Okay, and at this point, you could manually access call insert files, yeah, to the REST endpoint. The files were passed to the ingest queue. Okay, and processed basically into a pipe in their virtual warehouses. From their virtual warehouses, yeah, definitely you could issue copy into table, yeah, the copy into table SQL command. Well, it's more complex, yeah, definitely, but this could just give you an idea about the overall architecture of this marginal, let's call it marginal REST API. And just some important key points here. All these REST APIs are low level APIs for basic Snowflake access. Access directly, yeah? You access directly, and most, if not all, require authentication with a key pair, with JSON Web Token, JWT, or you can use OAuth. Okay, and most of the other high level APIs, libraries, and so on, yeah, even the command line interfaces, yeah, the Snowflake command line interfaces are actually using this REST API, specifically the SQL REST API. And I just presented you here briefly, four different REST APIs exposed by Snowflake. Let's start with the most important one, the oldest one also, SQL, the SQL REST API. This is to execute and cancel SQL statements. Okay, you have basically one single post get, yeah, pair to execute this one. You have another post to cancel an SQL statement, and with get, yeah, definitely you can get the result in multiple pages, basically. You cannot use put and get, yes, with this SQL REST API. These are two different other commands. Yeah, basically put and get, yeah, are two different other REST API commands, but these are actually to upload or unload files from your local computer into a stage, an internal stage. Okay, and keep in mind the REST API, this REST API is used for all client drivers, for the web UI, I think, for their Snowsite web UI, and so on. You have also this new version of Snowflake REST API. It's still in preview mode today. And look, this is new and more granular, okay? This is a more granular version of the SQL REST API. And you can issue specific commands to manage, let's say, users, roles, grants, or databases, schemas, tables, and so on. Okay. I presented to you briefly the Snowpipe REST API, which is an alternative to Snowpipe. Okay, and you can access Snowflake only by code using this REST API. As I said, I think there are just two methods exposed by this REST API, and they been encapsulated into some wrappers in Python. The Snowsite REST API, yes, that's an undocumented REST API. You'll not find a reference to this one anywhere in the Snowflake documentation. But I presented to you a Medium post from some former Snowflake employee. I will leave you the link attached to this lecture. I was telling you this was very useful for dashboards and charts because so far the dashboards are not yet accessed through anything, yeah, programmatically in Snowflake. Which is very important because as I was telling you, I use that article and the implementation provided by basically in that article to be able to export dashboards in a JSON format and to import them eventually programmatically and fast, yeah, very quickly into another Snowflake account.